Okay, welcome everybody. So, Bill Fanter here. Thanks for taking some time out of your weekend to join us this morning. What I want to do is give you a preview of the Options Masterclass and kind of what you've been reading and following, maybe me or Alberto on social media, LinkedIn, wherever it might be. But more importantly, just to provide full transparency and to be able to ask questions. So, with that, I have Alberto Perez with me. So, Alberto, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Glad to see and all your guys' names in here. Welcome, welcome.
So, Alberto and I met about 3 years ago when I was working in the financial service industry, and we were I was mentoring him in some different aspects of financial services. And over time, he was watching what I was doing and so on and so forth. And I told him, I said, you really need to take a look at this options trading. And we kind of joke back and forth. Nowadays, like, no, Bill, this is not for me. And yeah, I don't think this is in my wheelhouse, so on and so forth. And I'm going to go back in time, but about a year and a half ago, it's been about a year and a half, he took the master class. I'm going to let him tell you about his journey a little bit later, but let's fast forward to not only took the master class, pretty much almost gave up on trading, came back to it, and not only is he crushing it, but he's also an analyst within our community, and he is now also doing one-on-one student coaching. So I'm going to let him share a little bit more of the evolution of his story. But I thought it was also important for me to bring someone in that could also answer some of your questions who are newer to options trading, whereas I've been doing it for a decade now. So for me, it's kind of second nature, right? It's really ease and it's natural. But if you're coming new into this, I think it's so important that you get a fresh perspective. So, Alberto, I'll turn it over to you and let you make a couple opening remarks, and then we'll get into this real quick presentation, and then we'll do Q&A from the audience.
Yeah. Hey, you guys. Well, again, welcome. So my name is Alberto, and the one thing I would tell you about this open house, and one thing you want to just understand about options is number one, it's entirely different than your normal day-to-day life. Okay, options trading is an incredible skill under the condition that you take all of your biases away of how trading works. And what I mean by that is the way that I was able to come back after blowing 75% of my account the first time was I came with my corporate America mindset into this. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm really good at the executive level of doing this, then I should easily be able to do this. And the problem that, and I share this with my students all the time, the problem with that mindset is that corporate America gives you guardrails. There are things that you have to stay within. Trading, there are no guardrails. The only guardrails you are there are the ones that you put on there, which we're going to help you through that. But you have to understand you cannot just pick up and pack your luggage and come in today and then think to yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be this person. It's an entire process that you go through. And that's the process that I ended up having to learn to understand. It wasn't so much how to learn how to swing the bat, it was understanding that swinging the bat in front of a large audience was very different than swinging the bat when I'm inside my four walls. And so understanding that part of it is a big part of it. And so the other part I would tell you is this, as you're going through this today with the open house with us, ask the questions, really try to find out. I love telling my story because number one, to Bill's point, it was only a year and a half ago. So it's not like you could be like, oh man, that was like 30 years ago when you did that. Like this was literally, just I could literally tell you the details of how that was happening. And so, I'd love to hear more about your guys' questions, but we're going to be here to support you every step of the way and really understand how this works. But you have to remember, you got to take your hat off and say, I don't care if you've been doing investment trading in equities. It's different. It's a whole different ballgame, and it's a skill, if learned correctly, will change every single thing you can do in your life.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. And that was probably my biggest lesson learned is I'm like, what are you talking about? I run a $10 billion bank with 180 bank locations, 1,400 employees. and the market's not going to do what I want it to do?
Yeah,
Are you serious? Like, who
yeah.
does it think it is? And the market doesn't care. Are you black? Are you white? Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you a male? Are you a female? Are you 21? Are you 84? Are you wealthy? Are you poor? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you do commercial real estate? Do you do residential real estate? Are you a pharmacist? Are you an engineer? Are you an aircraft pilot? It does not care about you. And that's the
Mm,
hardest thing because the biggest obstacle you're going to have to overcome is your own ego. And that
yep.
is a very humbling thing for a lot of us successful people to do. So, today I'm going to walk you just through a real quick PowerPoint presentation with some of the basic questions that most people answer so we can just get those out of the way. I'm also going to take you into the actual Discord trading community so you can see firsthand what we do and how we do it every single morning. It is very consistent, it's repeatable, and you'll have a really good purview as to how this works. So let me just jump through a couple of these questions that pretty much everybody's going to answer or ask. But I also want to state that everything that we're going to talk about here is for educational purposes only. Why? Because I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not a registered advisor. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm not any of those guys. I am a retired former bank executive that is willing to teach a skill to others who are willing to learn. Okay? So, everything we also do within the community is for educational purposes. So if I take a trade, that just does not automatically mean you should just take a trade and do what Bill does. The reason we trade live, me, Alberto, Gus, Bryce, Flint, all of the analysts in the community, is so that you can see what we are looking at, you can hear what we are thinking, and comprehending the rationalization as to why we're doing what we're doing. We just don't say, well, I'm buying puts here or I'm buying calls here. We're going to give you the chart. We're going to give you the graph. We're going to show you exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, so on and so forth. But the money we make, is it duplicatable? Absolutely. You can do better than us. You can do worse than us. Neither of us have any way of knowing how this is going to turn out for anybody. And that's one of the questions I get all the time. Hey, if I got 10 grand, how much money can I make? I'm going to tell you it comes down to really two simple things. One, how do you handle greed? Two,
Hmm.
how do you handle fear? That's all this is. I mean, trading is, I mean, statistically, 20% technical, 80% psychological. I mean, and that's where the variable comes in. And I'm going to show you in the Discord community lots of successes and I'm going to show you lots of failures. But we can attribute 99% of failures not to charting, not to technical analysis, not understanding the direction of the market, but it is a lack of emotional intelligence. And that is often something very difficult for people to understand. Okay? So, and we'll share more of those stories as we go along. But neither me, Alberto, anybody is any of this to be construed as financial advice, right? When we trade, we all determine how much money we are going to make in a trade based upon our position size. We don't, I don't tell you how much I'm trading, so you're not going to know. Am I trading $100? Am I trading 5,000? Am I trading 10,000? Am I in a trade for $20,000? That's part of the risk management. And risk management is up to each of us to manage. So when we run this and we run it like a business, it can be very, very lucrative and profitable. But if you run it like a hobby, like any other hobby, it can be a very expensive lesson to learn. Okay. So let me just talk in ground level around stocks versus options. So I'm just going to use an example for those of you that are here in the States. JP Morgan Chase. Okay. The stock closed on Friday at $283.50. Okay. So if you wanted to buy 1,000 shares of Chase, you'd have to come up with 283 grand. Conversely, if I want to just control the right to buy 1,000 shares of Chase at 283.50, it would cost me as little as $2,000. So when you're trading, okay, there's a difference between equities and options. Options are a fraction of the cost and move exponentially. So let me show you how it works. When Chase, the actual stock, goes up by $1, then my equity will go up by $1,000, right? I'm holding 1,000 shares. If 1,000 shares stock goes up by $1, I made $1,000. Okay, so my ROI on that $283,000 is going to be about a third of a percent. Now, if I was holding the options in Chase yesterday, which I can buy at any point in time, I could buy them in the morning, I could buy them in the afternoon, I could buy them before the market close. There's so many different times that you can buy an options contract, and we'll teach you what we buy, why we buy it, and when we buy it. Again, with all of the education behind it, because without the education, then you are just blindly following, and that's not what any of us want. Okay. But now, if I was holding the options contracts, controlling the same notional value for a fraction of the cost, and Chase goes up by $1, my overall profit would go up by $620, which is an ROI of 30%. So when you're seeing in my posts or things on social media or things that you've read or researched in options, they are very volatile, right? To the upside and to the downside. But the name of the game is to have a strategy, to have a plan of what we buy, when we buy, how we buy it. Okay. And when that is done correctly, for example, my win ratio is somewhere between 78 and 82%. So 78 to 82% of every trade I take will be profitable. Now there's just 18 to 22 that are just going to lose money and there's nothing I can do. It's just going to happen. And I actually had that happen to me on Friday. I took 6 trades, one was a loser, 5 were winners. If you learn how to manage stop losses, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit here, it can be a huge benefit to actually just going out and buying the stock. So when you think about options, they allow you to define your risk to the amount of the cost of the contract versus just purchasing the stock outright. Okay. Because if I went out and I just bought Chase's stock yesterday at 283 grand and the market tanks over the weekend, on Monday morning, I open up my brokerage account and Chase's stock is down by 10%, I would have lost $28,000. Okay. So instead of losing $28,000 if I was holding the options contracts, I would only lose potentially $2,000, but I'm still controlling the same amount of the upside.
Hey,
Now,
Bill,
yeah,
real quick.
yeah.
We're getting a couple of folks on the chat saying that you're echoing.
Are you hearing an echo?
I'm not hearing an echo.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, sound
probably,
okay.
yep. Just log out of
Yeah, okay.
Zoom and log back in, and you should be
Yep.
good.
All right, Joe, keep going. Everybody else is saying no. So
Okay,
just two
perfect.
people.
No,
Okay, let's
okay.
continue.
No, that's why we do this. That's good. So think of options like you're renting the stock for a defined period of time. And you get to decide, hey, I want to rent Chase for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Because when I buy an options contract, I can sell it 30 seconds later. I can sell it 60 seconds later. I mean, frankly, my average trade, is probably less than 3 minutes for any time that I'm in any contract at all. I'm playing market volatility and I'm playing a directional bias of the market to either the upside or to the downside. Okay. Alberto, how long would your average trade be, would you say? I know yours are a little bit longer than mine.
Yeah, I'll usually stay in a trade anywhere from about maybe ten minutes to about maybe 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, a little bit of a different strategy. And the beauty is you get to see the different strategies, how we each trade the market. Okay.
And Bill, can I add to this? Because I think
Sure.
it's important that we define this because while strategy and time is different, one of the things that's very important is there are multiple ways that you're going to learn how to be able to trade. And what you'll find is that Bill and I are literally trading the same areas of levels. The only difference is how long we are holding the position. And so that is going to come down to literally what Bill said earlier right now, right? There are two factors that are going to get in your way, greed and fear. And so it all depends on, where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, and what you're comfortable with. And so I just wanted to touch a little bit more on that because we're on the same areas. We are just time based on our comfortability and what we're designed to accomplish.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good. And as I go through this presentation, guys, don't raise your hand because I all the lines are permanently muted. I can't take them off in the webinar. So just go ahead and type your question in the chat box, and Alberto will grab it. He'll answer it, or I'll answer it for you. Okay.
Yep.
So some common questions. Let's just get through these. These are kind of like just table stakes that just help level the playing field for those of you who have maybe never traded options or are unfamiliar with them. So things people ask. What is so attractive with trading stock options? Well, I kind of talked about it. It's called leverage, right? You can own 1,000 shares of Apple for $250,000, or you can control 1,000 shares of Apple for $1,600 in options premiums. What exactly is an options contract? Well, it's the right to control 100 shares of stock without the obligation to buy it for a fraction of the price. So, one of the terminologies that I use is just think about the fact that you're just renting the stock. Hey, Nvidia is going up today. I want to rent Nvidia for the day. Or, hey, Apple's going down. Okay, well, I want to rent Apple to the downside. It's like thinking about the fact that do you want to rent a boat or do you want to buy a boat? Or you go to the beach, do you want to buy a wave runner or do you want to enter a rent a rave runner? That's a tongue twister. Say rave runner 3 times. Rent a rave runner. So I'd rather rent one, right, than just fork out the cash. I've heard that options trading is just gambling. Is that true? Absolutely. No doubt, right? Especially when you don't know what you're doing, which is 99% of the people who badmouth trading. I will guarantee you, anybody who badmouths trading, let me get on a call with them and I'm going to ask them 3 simple questions. One, what was your risk management criteria? Tell me what it was. Two, tell me specifically why you took the trade. And three, tell me where your stop loss or take profit was. And I will guarantee you, I would bet money on this. 99.9999% of people could never, ever answer those 3 questions. Why? Because they're just chasing the money. They have not built a skill. And if they did get lucky, okay, they're all proud about it. Now, you'll hear me talk about this all the time. I'd rather be good than lucky at anything in life. So, your returns look too good to be true. So, what's the catch? Well, that's a power of options. When a stock moves $1 in a day, the options contracts can move by 30% or more. Now, a stock will move $1 in 5 minutes. Well, that's great. If my contract moves 30% in 5 minutes, I can take profits and be done with the trade. A stock can move $1 in, I mean, think about Nvidia. Nvidia will move $1 in 30 seconds. Great. Trade in, trade's over. Now, how much can I make? That's totally subjective. And it all depends on your willingness to learn. My average trades, 30 to 100%. I rarely will take a trade that makes more than 100%. Took one on Friday, made 100, I take profits. You're going to see Alberto, and you're going to see in his data that he'll have trades that will go up 100, 200, 300. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had a trade last week that went up 1,800%.
1,600%.
1,600%. I was doing a podcast and I missed the entire run. And I'm watching these guys make a ton of money. And I'm like, why did I schedule a podcast on the market close this day? And I'm still kicking myself for it. But that's the power of volatility. Okay. And if you don't learn the skill, frankly, you will just lose money because you're gambling. So you may as well just get on a plane, come see me here in Vegas. Let's go to the Bellagio. Let's take your cash. We'll sit at the craps tables and we're going to drink for free. Okay? You're going to lose your ass, but at least we're going to get free cocktails out of it. I mean, that's kind of fun, isn't it? And that's why you have to treat this like a business, you guys, not a hobby. So, what's my risk to reward ratio? And you're going to see this in a lot of the charts. And but we typically target a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 payout, meaning we will risk a dollar of capital to make a dollar or $2. So we're looking for 100%. We do not want to be taking a trade where I'm going to risk a dollar to make 50 cents. I mean, it's not a good use of capital in any business. How much do I risk per trade? Well, my average trade is between 30 and 100 contracts, which equates to $3,000 to $10,000 of capital. For beginners, you need to start with $100 to $300. You do not come into this putting on your big boy pants saying, I'm going to swing for the fences. That's not how you learn a skill. Okay. You will graduate from level to level to level. Alberto, how many contracts do you trade on average?
On average, I'm probably between 15 to 25.
Okay, fantastic. Right.
Yep.
And that's a phenomenal return, right? Now I've been
Yep.
doing this for 10 years. So my experience and my knowledge and understanding the market is even different than Alberto's, who's been doing this for, right, 16, 18 months now. And it's up to us to guide you in what does that look like with regard to risk management, because that's the name of the game. If you can't manage risk, you're going to be out of the game. And that's why so many people blow their accounts. They have really poor risk management. They have a really shitty mindset. They have really low emotional intelligence. And I don't mean to pick on people, but I could say it a million times. I can tell you the top three things that are going to cause you to fail. And if you can't fix those three things, you will just throw in the towel. And again, the majority of all of it is psychology. So
Yep. And
if
then Bill,
you're,
can I
yeah,
add to this real quick on
sure.
this the 30 to 100 contracts? I think it's important. There's some questions on this on the thing right now, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, right, guys? One of the things that we talked about early on about Bill, how long he holds versus how long I hold, right? Bill's going in with a greater substantial contract, so he's getting out a little bit sooner. I will go in with less contracts, let my trades play out longer, and ultimately get closer to the same reward that we're both making because I went on a lower size, but I went on a longer time frame. And so again, it just really depends on what's important and how, and that's what we're going to help you with through that strategy.
Yeah. So a great example is, let's say I go into a trade with 10 grand and I get a 50% move. I'm happy with taking 5 grand, one trade done for the day, going to the gym, see you tomorrow. Okay. So I made 5 grand. Alberto can go into that same trade, okay, with $1,000, let the trade play out for 60 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, and still walk away with $5,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So the one thing you'll learn about options is duration, and it's a timeline element. So then people are like, well, Bill, why don't you just sit in the trade longer to make more money? Again, it's a balance between greed and fear. My strategy is I only want to allocate an hour a day to this. 6:30 to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, and then I want to be done. I want to shut down my computer. I want to go to the gym. I want to go out to lunch. I want to sit by my pool. I want to do other things with my life. I don't want to sit in front of a computer. Again, I've been doing this for 10 years. So if I can make 5 grand in literally 5 minutes, I don't have a desire to sit here to make 15 or 20 grand for 2 to 3 hours. And for many of you, you're like, well, that's just plain stupid. It's not stupid for someone like me who has no mortgage, no car payment, no credit card debt. My house is paid off in cash, and I don't need the money. So, what all of you are doing, and everybody does this, right? I don't say that from a defamation perspective, but you're constantly trading your time for money. And the issue is, how much is your time worth? And so when you're seeing somebody, whether it's me or Alberto or someone else on social media, that are making this kind of money in minutes, you're like, where do I sign up for that? Whereas the whole mindset is, how do I learn how to do that for myself? Right? That's the power. So, how much time is required to be successful? Well, at a minimum, you need to invest an hour a day to become proficient in learning the skill. And it's preferably on the market open, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Now, if you can't trade that time frame, you could trade later in the day, but the market will just have different nuances. It will trade a little bit differently. There's less liquidity. There's typically less price movement unless there is a major news event. So right now we are in the midst of a conflict in the Middle East. So there is news all day, every day that is just moving the market around. But your greatest success, in my opinion, is in the first 60 to 90 minutes, where the markets are rebalancing the equity flows from the prior night. So, for example, if you go in and move money out of your 401k today and say, hey, rebalance me, well, that 401k sells at the market close, and then they can't put that money to work in the new fund until they open the next morning, which is when the majority of all of the volume comes in. How much do I need to get started? At a minimum in a brokerage account, somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000. You don't need 25 grand. You don't need 50. You don't need 100. The less amount of money that you're working with, the better off you're going to be. Okay? Because this is all about learning a skill. And if you learn it, the money is the byproduct. It's not the other way around. It's not, I got a ton of money. Let me do this. I want to double and triple it. And I'll often just turn people away who want to come to the table with too much money. Why? Because I know they're just going to lose it. Because the only reason they showed up was for the money, not to learn the skill. Just a couple more, and then Alberto, I'll see if you have any that haven't been answered.
Yep.
How do you minimize losses? And that's, again, a huge misnomer with options. Oh, you'll lose everything. You'll go broke, lose the house, lose the car. You'll lose everything. It's not possible, folks. The most you can lose in a trade is however much you go into the trade with. So options is maybe similar to gambling, but yet different. If you're going to play poker and you're going to put in $100 into the pot, the only way you get your $100 out is to win the pot. Okay? You just can't say, oh, I don't like the river card. Give me my $100 back. Options is different in the fact that I can go into a trade with $100 and be like, I don't like how this trade is playing out. It's taking too long, or it's directionally not going in my favor. So therefore, I'm going to take out $60 and just walk away and say the trade didn't work. Okay. So I can't even think of a time that I've ever lost 100% of my trade investment. I would just never let it happen. I would just say the trade invalidated. Give me back 60% of my money. Give me back 80% of my money. Give me back 90% of money. And there's times where when you trade live with me, I'll be like, guys, I don't like this price action. I'm going to stop out at break even. So I went in with 100 and I came out with 100, but I got an opportunity. So think about it like this. If you were a baseball player, and Alberto will have way better analogies than me because he was a baseball player. But just because you step up to the plate doesn't mean you have to take a swing. You can take a ball, right? You can get
Mhm.
walked. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you could swing once and not swing again and get walked. Or you can go back and strike out and get benched. So, how long does it take to learn the skill before you become consistently profitable? I would say about 90 days. And it's not about learning what to do, because we are going to teach you everything to do the right way from ground zero. What you need to learn to stop doing is what is not working. And again, it's psychological. You'll know better. And you're going to see comments in the Discord that I'm about to show you where people are like, I know better. I wasn't in the right frame of mind, yet I still did it anyways. It's like going out with some friends after work and you go for appetizers and a drink and everything is good. Okay, great. And then someone's like, oh, well, just one more drink. Two, all right, well, I'll have one more, but then I gotta go. And before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're at your third bar. Guys, things don't end well when you don't use good judgment. And trading is the exact same way. Okay, it's identical. So I will always encourage you to have your learning cap on first and then your trading cap separately. So, How do I know what to buy and when? Well, you could come trade live with me and five analysts who will show you screen sharing. We're going to give you all of our charts, all of our levels, and we're going to walk you through every trade that we take. Now, when we are taking trades, we are using real money. We are not trading prop firm accounts. We are not trading in a simulator. We are using our hard earned capital. Okay. But the goal for you is to be self sufficient from us. So, in the master class, what do I learn? You literally learn everything. It's 18 hours of comprehensive training, which allows students to have an incredible understanding of how to profit from the start. If you build this the right way from the beginning, it's not anywhere near as challenging as if you just say, well, I'm just going to go watch some YouTube videos. And don't get me wrong, we see people who try and then they just frankly they give up, they quit the Discord community and they're like, nah, screw this. I need the class,
That
right?
was me.
It doesn't work. You got to remember, guys, I've been doing this for over a decade. And I took everything over the last 10 years, along with I've taken pretty much every other guru's options and futures masterclass that you can imagine. And honestly, I stole from them. And I picked out everything that resonated with me, and that's what I teach, right? I not only teach what I do, but I also teach across the entire industry what makes the most amount of sense that has duration and long lasting stamina that's going to hold the test of time, right? What happens after the class ends? Nothing. We're here as long as you need us to be a resource, be a friend, review trades, answer questions in the Discord. I mean, it is a very, very robust community that is truly second to none. So, couple thoughts. Let me ask this, Alberto. Any questions? Anything that we didn't get answered yet?
Yeah, I was just about to stop you. Yep. Let's just. I've been answering most of them. We'll answer just a few of them here right now. So Santiago wants to know, assuming a $25,000 account, what is a reasonable amount of money people make in a year after learning the technicals and assuming one can handle greed and fear?
Yeah, it's right. That's up to you. So if you have a $25,000 account, you should not be trading more than $2,500 in a day. So we're going to have rules that you're going to have to abide by. You can't take more than 2 to 3 trades a day. So the most I would ask you to trade with is 2,500 in an individual trade. Let's just say you got 30% on a $2,500 trade. What are you making? $750. So the question is, if you know how to handle greed and fear, $750 a day on average, okay? Some days could be more, some days could be less. One trade. I would encourage you not to take a second trade. Take 750 times 240 trading days in a year. That's right, real simple math. The
Yep.
problem is, in all honesty, that I'll have students, and I've had this, these are real life stories that are up $28,000 within the very first hour of the market open. I will reach out to them because they'll post their gain in the Discord, and I'll be like, what in the hell are you doing? And they will tell me unequivocally, Bill, I am doing everything you taught me. I am following your rules to a T, and I'm managing risk. They will literally reach out to me at the end of the day. I lost the entire $28,000 plus another $50,000 on top of that. I
Yep.
went on tilt.
Yep.
I couldn't control myself. The greed
Mhm.
took over, right? That happens more often than any of you can imagine. And I know you
Yeah.
all think you're great at managing risk and greed and fear. And I know myself, I'm going to tell you, you don't even know who the hell you are until you
Hmm.
get into this with us. And then you start making 200, 2,000, $20,000 in 5 minutes. You will become a completely different person. And I
Yep.
don't mean that disparagingly, but you haven't even seen what money can do to people. And we all know, right? Because we see it in society. So,
Yep. Good. The other one, PJ wants to know, how does taxation work for options the traders, the percentage and process, is it yearly, quarterly?
so it's short-term capital gains. Okay, that's how you're going to be taxed. And unfortunately, it's 40%. But at the end of the day, for me, I think on Friday I made $2,080. So if I got to give the IRS, right, $800 out of that, Here's my 800 bucks. Okay. I pay taxes annually. I'm typically on a quarterly regimen, but you're not going to be at that level yet. So after a year, you would just short-term capital gains is how you get taxed. Now, if you over time, we'll teach you about SPX. If you trade SPX, you get taxed long-term capital gain. So it's a differential, but SPX moves very differently. So just think in general with options or futures, 40%, unfortunately.
Yep. And Santiago wants to know, I understand that analysts in the Discord community have their own teaching courses apart from Bill's course. Between your two courses, how does your teaching and strategy differ from each other? Is there a specific type of student or temperament that you would recommend to go with Bill's or Alberto's course? So can I
So
answer that real quick?
yeah, yeah, answer
I
that.
think it's very important. This is the one thing when you come with me to coaching to do a one-on-one coaching and mentorship, I'm not teaching you options trading. I'm not teaching you the basics. That stuff comes through the masterclass. If you don't understand the option chains, if you don't understand some of the basic things that are taught in the masterclass, you will absolutely not be able to join with me because you're not going to understand when I'm talking about institutional levels, when I'm talking about where liquidity pools are, how liquidity sweeps are. When I'm talking that kind of level of detail to understand how institutional traders trade, you're going to be lost. I don't teach you how to press the button, with an options chain. So we're talking about I go into great detail from the broader area, but you have to understand what are the fundamental basics and logistics that you learn through the master class. That's what I'll add to that. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, no, it's good. And so when you think about my master class, there's three options. One, there's the on demand where you can just start it at any point in time. There's the live one that I'm going to teach on April 6th, okay, which is called the Foundation, that includes 6 months of Discord. And then there's the Pro, which is a year of Discord. I'm teaching it live, but then after class, you're working with both me and Alberto. So you're doing sessions with me, then you're doing sessions with him, then you're doing more sessions with me. Okay. Now, if you're just in the Discord and you're seeing that, hey, Alberto has these three pillars or four pillars or six pillars, whatever he's working on, that's the Masterclass Pro that students are doing if they just took the foundation. Okay. So what you're not going to learn is what are the EMAs? What is VWAP? What is supply and demand? Are all the trading view templates and charts? Where is my Thinkorswim chart setup templates? That's all in the master class. So think about what Alberto is doing is taking the trading to the next level. Okay. Yep.
And then one more. We're gonna go. I saw it right here. Can the philosophies learned during the masterclass be applied to option on other stock markets? I live in Australia. Could they be easily applied to the ASX?
I would say no. Yes and no. Okay, so the fundamentals are going to apply, but why would you trade that when you could trade the US market that has the most liquidity anywhere in the world, where you can trade Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, right? All of these names that have the eyeballs of the entire world on their exchange, right? So thinking about the Australian exchange versus like the DAX or versus the FTSE or versus NYMEX, right? Or the CBOE. Always trade no matter where you live in the world. And I have students from all over the world. I have a lot of students in Sydney. We have a lot in the UK, the EU, Canada, but I encourage all of them always trade the US market. It has the most amount of buyers and sellers where you'll get better price stability and you'll get better option fills. And we'll talk about that in class, right? What a wide bid ask is. And you're like, oh my God, well, I got into the contract and there's no buyers. Like, where is everybody? Okay. So thinking about that. One of the other questions I caught here, Alberto, is do I have to have a prior finance or banking or any knowledge? The answer is no, right? I mean, you need no experience about the markets, how they work, finance, stock market. You don't need any of that. This class is literally built from the collegiate level up. Okay. So I taught at Furman
Yep.
University, the Graduate School of Retail Bank Management for 5 years. The entire curriculum is built where a college student can easily comprehend, learn, and succeed from day one. It is not this like a course in chemistry or biology where you're going to be lost. I promise you, you will not be lost whatsoever. Um,
Yeah, I'll answer one last one right here that I just answered back, but this is to Akash, who asked, if you don't have any prior knowledge in finance or a background degree, is that a disadvantage? And as I just wrote on Discord or on the at chat, but I also tell this to everybody, if you have no experience, you're better off because we don't have to break bad habits. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a new student of from anywhere that has come to me and has found out about the coaching mentorship, and the first thing I found is, well, what's your background? Well, I've been trading stocks for my whole life. And they come with this preconceived bias into the market that they think they know what they're doing because they've been trading investments, right? Long
mhm.
term, they're holding for years and days, and they've been making money. They think, well, if I've been doing well there, I understand the markets. And the reality is, it's a whole different ballgame, and we're having to break people's mindsets off of bad habits because when you're trading options, it has to be a controlled environment that you're doing stuff in, not an emotional roller coaster that you're trying to trade on.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good. Um, I know there's a lot of questions around taxation, right? I would encourage you to reach out to your CPA with specific tax questions. There are rules in the IRS tax code that say if you trade X number of days out of the year, you spend so much time in the market, then you can have the designated trader status, okay? Which means you deduct all your software, you deduct all your training, you deduct all your broker fees, you deduct your Discord fees, right? I deduct all of that because I'm deemed by the IRS as a trader. Okay. And so there's some requirements and guidelines around that, but I don't want to get too much into the taxification. That's where I'll always defer you back to your CPA. If you work with us in the team, I'll refer you to my CPA who only does accounting and finance for traders. So it's very specific. Okay. I want to get into the Discord because I really want you to
Yep.
see how this works. I think that's, what's going to be super important. But first and foremost, again, on my website, billfanter.com, go look at all the testimonials, and these are from professionals. So I'm not trying to convince kids at McDonald's to stop flipping burgers and that this is their salvation to a Lambo bottle service and a yacht. Okay, that's not my audience. That's not who I want to teach, and that's not who I want to surround myself with. I surround myself with career professionals across all industries: finance, real estate, medical, the legal field, the scientific field. We have Boeing engineers who have taken the program. I mean, if you really saw the backgrounds of caliber of individuals that have taken this class, it's very humbling to me. Okay. But which is why I am so protective of my brand and the product and who I'm willing to let into it. And I do turn a lot of people away. You'll see my LinkedIn post. If you just lost your job, do not come to me. I am not your salvation. I am not your savior, right? I do not even want to teach you how to trade options because you're in a place of desperation. And when you're desperate, you know what you're going to do? You're going to make bad decisions. What did I tell you from the start? Psychology is going to be your biggest hurdle. So if you're not in a good marriage, or you're not in a good place financially, or you have a gambling habit, or you have a drinking problem, or you have this compulsive behavior to always be right, this is not for you. Just literally disconnect. Say, I came, I saw, I'm just going to opt out because I'm just going to get myself into trouble. And that's the last thing I want to do, guys, is put people in a worse situation. So you can go to my site anyways, click on any of the profiles, reach out to any of the people. I'm not going to tell you who to, contact and get their opinion or their perspective. I want you to find value in the people who have come through the program and what they had to say about it. So, couple cool stories recently. I did a post about this, but Mark literally adopted a baby boy and over the past 6 weeks, fully funded 100% of the costs. It's possible, right? Addie trades with us. She was in the construction management business. Okay. Totally out, right? Feeling like she was never valued, so on and so forth, feeling misaligned, not any longer. Okay. Other women, and I want more women also into the program because I think there's so much empowerment around that is, but just looking at Paola, right? Third green month in a row, gaining confidence to increase the amount of contracts while managing risk. And that's the whole name of the game, guys. Risk management, emotional intelligence. That is it. It is not that complicated. So, if we can, let's jump into the Discord. So let me exit out of this. I'm going to switch over. And this is the Discord community. Okay. I'm just going to start at the top. So in a Discord, it's like I guess it's like Slack for maybe a lack of better terms. But couple things. The Discord, if you do the on demand, learn on your own, you could subscribe. It's $150 a month. Or when you're taking the master classes, it's part of the master class. Okay. There is a video here that shows you how to use the Discord to get the most out of it. Now, I'm going to walk you through some of the key highlights. But what you want to do is on the left-hand side, you'll see the options action logo here. You want to right click and make sure it always says show all channels. Okay. We want to be able to see all the channels that are in the community. We will have a weekly watch list that I do on YouTube and I publish it. And then I will show you what I'm going to be watching for the upcoming week with all of my price levels, how I'm going to trade the market, what I'm watching, where are the buyers, where are the sellers. We're also going to be cognizant of what earnings are coming out for the upcoming week, right? These might be some stocks that we want to trade. There's maybe some news events that we want to be aware of, but we're always going to keep our eye on earnings. Now, on a daily basis, this is where all the live trading channels are. So, for example, here's my live trading channel. So, every morning, about an hour before the market opens, I'm going to show you where all of my price levels are on a stock. Now, for many of you, this is going to seem completely foreign, but it's really simple that where you see a line, right, the market is going to trade within the line. And these are 4 hour time frames. And you'll see that we are stuck in this range for 4 hours. So I'm probably not going to take a trade until we get out of this 4 hour range. And I'll show it to you on the futures. I'll show it to you on the ETFs, right? And you can see these are my levels, and the market will literally move level to level. That's where I say trading is 20% technical, 80% psychological, but the market will literally move from liquidity pool to liquidity pool. We'll watch volatility. What is it doing? And then we'll also understand in the pre-market what's moving, right? What are they buying? Are they selling Meta and buying Nvidia? Is Apple neutral? This will kind of give us an overall gauge as to is it going to be a bullish day, meaning the market's probably going to go up, or is it going to be a bearish day and the market's going to go down? We'll have a Zoom link where we will post so you can join the live session. When I'm trading and when Alberto are trading, you will see our screens. You will hear us. You will listen to our narrative. We will tell you where we're taking a trade, where we're getting in, where we're getting out, where our stop loss is, where we're taking profits. There's two other analysts, Gus and Anthony, who also trade live, but they also trade throughout the day. So, for example, when Gus is trading later in the morning, he will tell you that he is going to take a 607 call on QQQ, and he's going to tell you what he is paying for it. And then he will tell you that he is taking profits, 15%, 30%, 40%, so on and so forth. Anthony does the same thing. Bryce is another analyst who does not trade live over Zoom, but he posts all of his trades in the Discord with his charts. Okay. So he's going to tell you, here's my chart. Here's where my stop loss is going to be in the red. Here's where my take profit is going to be in the green. And again, if you're new to trading, this isn't going to make sense, but we are all about giving you the visual, giving you the narrative, telling you the story. Where are we buying? What are we buying? What are we paying? So, for example, here, Bryce is telling you he bought a call in QQQ, the 605 call, for $63. Then he's giving you his charts to tell you where he's watching price go up to the top here. And then he's going to recap what were the overall results. So his SPX calls went up 75%. His QQQ calls hit 109%. So even when you look at the time when he got into the trade, so it looks like he got into this at 6:39 in the morning and he was done with that trade by 6:47. 8 minutes. Again, the time with options is one of the greatest variables. Flint is again doesn't trade live, but he will call out all of his trades in the Discord. He will do every once in a while live trading. This is going to be over YouTube, and then he'll do a recap of all of his trades as well. And then Alberto is very similar to me, where he will post all of his levels in the morning. He's going to tell you what he's watching, what's on watch, where are his levels, so you'll understand when you're going to take a trade or your FO zone. Fool around and find out. That's where we don't want to be trading. And he'll do it for SPY, QQQ, IWM, right? If he's got a setup, he had a setup on Tesla. And I think you traded Tesla on Friday, did you not?
Yep, I had three trades on Tesla,
Three?
two calls and two puts, and I ended up posting them on the poster gains, and I called one of them out here. I think it was the first one right above that.
Yep. And here, this shows we do take losses and we disclose our losses, right? I post my losses, Alberto posts his losses. But if you can manage the losses and the winners are going up 100, 200, 300%, it's the cost of doing business. Okay. Couple other things in the community. We will never DM you first. We will never friend request you. We will never ask for your bank information. We will never ask you for crypto. We will not offered a copy trading program. None of us, don't take this the wrong way, we're not going to reach out to you to try to sell you anything. Okay. And
Hmm.
if somebody does, it is a lookalike scammer. So I'm just going to tell you right now, because I'm going to give you a link to get into the community for free for a week so you can at least see what it's about. But we will never, ever reach out to you. Okay. Trade recaps. We'll do trade recaps. So there's your trade, Tesla, 26%. And then Alberto did a trade recap that he posted to YouTube. So we want to not only show you the winning trades, but we want to teach you why they work and what was behind them. Okay. And it's all about education. This is a post your gains, right? So all the community members can post their gains. What did they do? Made 372, made 195. These must have been Alberto's, made 58%, 79%. Jay Clark made $644, 104% by one porcupine. Uh, Alberto, here's a couple more trades, 41%, lost 16%, made 43%. Again, you can manage risk. Here's mine. Look, I lost $333 on IWM. I hate trading IWM. It doesn't work for the way I like to trade, but Alberto will trade it with insane success. And I'm just like jealous. I have FOMO. It's like I got googly eyes. I'm watching this guy get like 100, 200, 300%, and I try it and I lose money. Okay. So where do I go back to? I go back to where there's the volatility and things that I like. QQQ, Tesla, very fast movers, high volatility. They're done in a minute. IWM, I got to sit here and watch paint dry. Not for me. Like I got to go to the gym. I got sushi waiting for lunch, and Alberto's kicking back with his feet up on the desk, just collecting money. We joke with one another, but it's like figuring out what is in your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We also encourage you to post your losses. Okay. Here's me. I apologize to everybody. I took an Apple call trade and it was a loser. I lost 40% on the trade on Friday. But hopefully you caught the other five winners because my first trade went up over 100%. So if you make 100% on one trade and you lose 40 on another, net, you're still up 60%. And then I still called out an additional four winning trades. Okay. But look at and read what people have to say. It so comes down to psychological, right? Yes, something like that happened to me before my loss 2 days ago. I risk controlled, so no biggie, but I noticed my state and psyche and basically knew I should not trade, but I did so. Dang. But with this experience, things that are more manageable, head up high, and I'm going to continue. Here, 3 weeks into real money, 3 red weeks. No major losses as I'm still taking small positions. I feel I could easily be green if I kept the position, but I stopped out early for not wanting to take a bigger loss. I had a green day today, so I'll take it and hope for momentum next week. Here, losing 3 trades today. All my losing trades eventually continued in my direction for what I would have had big gains. I think it's too easy to get shaken out when the VIX is high. To make matters worse, it destroys your confidence when you see nothing but red the second you hit buy on your P&L, at least for me. So, like we shared earlier, we are going to emphatically keep teaching you and telling you 100 million frickin' times trade the charts and stop trading your damn emotions. Your
Yep.
brain is the worst thing that will get in your way to success, not technical analysis. It's what's going on up here. You're like, oh my God, I'm red. I'm losing money, losing money, losing money. Stop. And then the trade does exactly what you thought it was going to do. Am I wrong, Alberto?
No, that is the first. The way I lost 75% of my account initially was exactly that, right? It was, I did it. I never got out of a trade because I didn't validate it. I got out of a trade because I simply saw red. And and you're always now chasing your emotion. And one of the things I always tell people, I say this all the time, when you don't understand the skill and the technical analysis, you are left with a psychology that is going to be overcompensating for the lack of technical analysis and the lack of the skill. And when you're left with your psychology, you are going to then be drawn to convince yourself that what you are doing is valid. And remember what I said when I first started this, everything you do in your corporate job has guardrails to protect you from doing exactly that. This does not. And if you don't know how to do that, you're going to be left with your psychology alone, and that's going to overcompensate the lack of skill, and you're going to lose all the time.
Yep. Here, look, I mean, another example. My brain wants to operate 5 steps behind the last 2 weeks. Here, we talk a lot about psychology here, and it comes down to your own brain. So make sure you're journaling, right, and working through the technical aspect of this, not what your eyes are seeing, right? Here, it's been a tough week. I had 2 bad days, Monday and Wednesday, and one good day, Tuesday. Okay, net is I'm negative for the week and negative so far for the month. I know what I need to do. I just need to execute better and trade less. We talk about this all the time, right? Chasing the money. I'm chasing the money. I lost $100. Now I need my $100 back. No, you don't. You don't need your damn $100 back. The $100 was the advantage to better education. So just learn from yourself. And we have a whole channel around psychology. And, Alberto, I pinned this actually around the hammer, right? And why don't you go ahead and just narrate how this works?
Yeah. So one of the things you have in your psychology, there's a term called motivated reasoning that's used in the psychology field. And basically what it means is that you have a bias towards something. So for example, right now I'm wearing a Dodgers hat. So if you are, you have some kind of thought about anybody who's a Dodgers fan, you are automatically looking at me with that bias, not knowing who I am. So everything that I do, you are motivated to reason yourself that what your bias is correct. And so the way that I reckon this to be, for example, in this hammer, you could have the same hammer that's going to be building a mansion, building a house for yourself. That same hammer, if you have no blueprint and you show up to the construction site and you have no idea where to start, you're left with a hammer in hand and a thought in your head that says, well, I should start here. And what ends up happening is you cause chaos and damage. Well, that's the same way that you walk into trading. If you walk in with trading with no blueprint, no plan, you don't wake up to look at the markets to set up your trades, and you think you're just going to roll out of bed and go and click the buy market, you're left with a hammer in hand and a thought. And what's going to happen is you're going to be led with motivated reasoning, and you're going to watch a market as it shoots up, and you're going to chase it, and you're going to say, oh, I think it's going calls, and you're going to go chase it, and you're going to end up losing your bottom behind it. And so that's why you want to make sure you understand Trading is all about preparation once you've learned the skill.
Yeah, very, very, very well said, right? So I'm not going to sugarcoat this for any of you, right? I don't need your money. I don't need you to sign up for my masterclass. I don't want people signing up who are going to lose. I have no desire of surrounding myself with losers. I want to surround myself with people who are committed to learning, to winning in life. That is my circle. That's what fuels me. That's what empowers me. That's why we have how many? 1,350 people in the Discord community today, right? But I'm not going to just show you all sunshine and rainbows because you're going to take losing trades. But I promise you, we are going to do everything in our power to set you up with knowledge, education, and to succeed and watch us do it. Now, what I will tell you is when people trade live with us, they just have better results, right? Because they're using us as their safety net. When you just decide to go out on your own and be like, oh, well, I just think I'm going to trade Palantir today, then sometimes things go wrong. Now, they will go wrong less likely if you have that map, okay, that roadmap. You know exactly what you're doing. You understand the options chain. You understand the bid ask, and you have a stop loss as well as a take profit target. Okay. Now you're not going to figure that out for probably 90 days. I'm just being honest with you, right? And that's why we say it takes about 90 days for you to really get in the groove. And then your success will start the day you stop doing this one thing. It's a real simple phrase. I use it all the time. I'm going to trademark it. Ready? Stop doing stupid shit. That's it. As soon as you stop doing stupid shit, you will make money. But the stupid shit is, oh my God, I just had three winning trades. Let's take a fourth. Why? Why do you need to take a fourth? Oh my gosh, I just made $5,000. Let's make another $5,000. Why? What are you doing? You had the perfect setup. The market gave you what you wanted. Quit being greedy, right? Or, I had FOMO. I'm watching Alberto make all this money in IWM, and even I do stupid shit. So I'm going to get into this trade too when I didn't even have it charted for myself, right? And then I'm like, I'm out, right? That was stupid, Bill. Don't do that again. I mean, so even after 10 years, right, I could put blind trust and faith in Alberto, and it will work out, honestly, 80% of the time. Now, that trade that I did take a loss on of $300 was actually a winning trade for him. Okay. But I didn't have the technical levels to stay in the trade in order to have the confidence to ride it out. So therefore, my psychology and my own brain caused the loss. The chart didn't cause the loss. The technical didn't cause the loss because I can unequivocally tell you that he did not get a 5 minute candle close below his level. And the calls worked. But I saw the market dipping and overall selling with confluence, and I decided to get out. But what did Bill not have? Bill did not have a blueprint to trade IWM that day. But guess who came with the blueprint to the construction site? Alberto. I'm the loser. He's the winner. Okay. I just, it's how it works. And I'm not afraid to tell you that. And I'm not afraid to admit it. We encourage you to introduce yourself, right? We have some great friendships that have been made online, in the community, offline. They're just phenomenal people. These are all career professionals, you guys, right? Again, not recruiting 18-year-olds from McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's to come learn how to day trade with us. That's not for me. Any questions you ever have, we will answer them live, real time. The community will answer them. Just about anything that you could possibly think of. We have a general chat that we just kind of have some fun with, use some memes, just really enjoying each other's company. There's a trade talk channel, so different things with charts or things you want to talk. Futures, if you're a futures trader, and then trade ideas, right? If you have an idea around a trade that you're looking at and taking, and you want someone else's perspective or an opinion on it, we do that as well. I'll post different things that, hey, here's something you guys ought to watch this morning. It's really cool. And then any system settings. So for those of you in the UK, EU, United States, we trade on Charles Schwab Thinkorswim. For those of you in Canada and Singapore, we use IBKR, which is Interactive Brokers. And all of that is in the masterclass, how to get approved, how to set it up, how to have all your charts, your layouts, everything customized. We also do have all kinds of tools that we do. So we do webinars on FOMC days. These are the different tools. These are different webinars that we've done in the past around charting price levels, setting up IBKR, TTM Squeeze Pro, a CBC flip indicator. So all things that we teach you supply and demand in the actual masterclass. And then these are the webinars that Alberto does. So this was one around volatility, one around ATR, which is average true range supply and demand, another one of what is a breakout versus a fake out. And we also did one around confluence trading. So we're constantly trying to keep you educated and getting better at honing this skill. And then finally, some books and courses, just really recommendations around books, right? Whether they're candlesticks, mental game of trading, the new age of day trading. Brandon, a guy that I've known for a long time, and just some good psychological things. But the one that is a must read for everybody is going to be called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, right? This is one of my prerequisites that I ask that you read before, during, and after the master class. So it's not something you need to do. But again, this is all about psychology. And if you can get your psychology right, there is nothing that will allow you to make more money per hour in this world. And trust me, I'm 55 years old and I've tried everything. I mean, I have literally tried every business that you could possibly imagine. This next section, I'm not going to spend any time in it, but these are all AI signals. So it's all order flow of large blocks of calls and puts that are being bought, trade ideas, all generated by AI, large option sweeps that are coming through, dark pool. So when a dark pool is when Warren Buffett is buying, he's not buying on the open market, they're buying aftermarket. So you could see that this was a large dark pool print of $14 million worth of contracts in AAOI, right? So these are things that we can look at to say, wow, someone just bought $14 million of this position. What's going on here? Okay. And then if there's any stocks that are analyst upgrades, different scalping ideas. So a scalp is we're getting in and out of a trade very quickly. And then stocks that are breaking out, right? Or breaking down. So this is AbbVie breaking down on a trend line, right? So you can take puts on this one. This is AMC breaking a down line, right? A meme stock. This one here is Chevron breaking to the upside. So we really try to make it a community that is very inclusive, educational, and eye-opening, to say the least. So, Alberto, other questions?
No, I've been answering most all of them in here, so there's nothing in here right now that we need to answer.
Okay, perfect. So this is recorded. When the recording is done processing, I will email it out to everybody. And then if you have questions, please ask. I think
Hmm.
the reason we want to do this for you is to show you the potential of it, which is insane when it's done correctly. And I'm the
Yep.
first to tell you, when it's done incorrectly, it's destructive, which is why 95% of traders fail, which is why people badmouth trading, right? But let's get to the individual. So don't blame the game, blame the player. Okay. So what's in the coursework? It's a great question. So let me show you real quick, if I could. Let me just get out of this and give me 2 seconds. I guess I probably should have had that in there. Let me see if I have it in my recents real quick.
Well, Bill, and while you're pulling that up, can I mention a couple of things about what you just said about the
Yep.
last piece right now? So just to piggyback on what Bill said about like if we do this right, in the beginning I blew 75% of my account, right? And I thought I was just gonna be stuck, in W2 just doing that forever. And I didn't know if I was really gonna get the freedom. Today, right? Just recently, and I had a chance to post this on Discord just recently in February, I was able to literally just get up and take my family on a vacation, right? Because trading paid for it. There's a difference between the freedom because I was able to just let the psychology be under control, have my blueprint every day versus in the beginning where I just thought, okay, well, Bill's making 10 grand, 5 grand, 3,000. it can't be that hard. I've been very successful at my corporate job. How hard could this possibly be if he's doing it? And you start to realize that you've got to get that out and understand first, I need to learn this properly. I need to stick to what these guys are talking about and making sure I do not try to get ahead of them because guess what? Bill will tell you, I will tell you, we have all been there where we've either blown the account, lost a substantial amount of money. So what you're seeing today isn't just like, oh, look, we rolled out of bed and this just, it happened. We've all been through that part. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to help you understand this game of trading is a skill set that will free you from and give you what you wanted to do. However, there's a caveat, and that is you need to be able to follow the skill and the process and not the emotional psychology behind it because that is what gets people in trouble over and over. And those are the two contrasts where one, I didn't follow a process, blew 75% account. The other one, I'm following my processes. I take my family to wherever I want to go at the whim. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. And the first picture was me and Alberto at the Lady Gaga concert where I took him and his wife. I flew out to LA for the evening, right? We spent 10 grand that night. So on tickets, on airfare, hotel, maybe not 10 grand, 7 grand. I don't want to over exaggerate. The tickets were 5 grand. So hotel, dinner, everything, but trading paid for that, right? And I'm like, let's do it. It'll be a great time. And so this is the roadmap of the masterclass. Okay, it's 6 sessions. Each session is 2.5 hours long. They're all recorded. It includes all the handouts, all the material, all the presentation, all the Q&A that you could possibly need. But we're going to talk about stocks versus options in a more granular detail. I'm going to teach you how to select an options contract. We're going to talk about maximizing value of the contract. So what strike do I pick? What happens with delta, gamma, theta? Okay. We're going to walk through the broker selection process of how to set up the account so you get approved and don't get declined. So I don't want you to be signing up for a brokerage account and then applying for options and then they deny you. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen, right? We're going to go through all the charts and indicators. So how do we do our charting? How do we chart price levels? Where is supply? Where is demand? What is the software we use? We use TradingView for all of our charting. And then we use a custom indicator with supply and demand that shows where the buyers and sellers are from an institutional level. Okay. That's different than where the retail traders are actually charting their stocks. And you'll learn all about that. We'll talk about the community, which is the Discord, and then we'll do a lot around safeguards, key risk strategies, the human emotion piece, and then I do simulated trading with you. So in the masterclass, you get all of my charts, all of my layouts, all of my setups, all of my scripts. You literally are sitting at my PC exactly the way that I trade. Okay. So this is what is all encompassed in the masterclass. And then anything else that you want to know. But I've taught this 12 times already, so I can pretty much do it from the back of my hand, knowing that if there was something that needed to be added, it would have been added already. Now, I'm not going to lie, every once in a while, I'll pick up something new and say, all right, well, let's throw in a slide on this because the markets change, right? The conditions change based upon the environment we're in, right? Political environment, economic environment, things along those lines. But we go through where's our news feed? What are the news events we look at? How do they get communicated? How do we trade around them? I mean, everything that you could possibly think of, I will cover with you. And then if it's not, that's why you have access to me and you have access to Alberto. We are here, and I kid you not. Again, I told you go to my website and call any one of those 150 people listed as a testimonial. I don't know who you're going to call. Pick anyone. Get their perspective, get their opinion, right? You don't need to take my word for it, but I'm going to keep doing this whether you join me or not. Alberto's going to keep doing this whether you join or not because we know how lucrative this can be. I mean, if it's done correctly, I'm just going to keep emphasizing that, guys. So.
Yep.
The master class is held 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Each session is about 2.5 hours. It goes by really fast, though. You'll be amazed. And they're all recorded. So if you miss one or you got to jump off or so on and so forth, I am not teaching another one until maybe September or October. I used to do them every other month, and frankly, now I don't want to do them. I'd rather just trade and build the community. But the reason I do this, and I do it with you guys, Alberto kind of said it, right? If you're locked into limited income or you're locked into a 9 to 5 or corporate America, guys, I was in corporate America for 35 years and it did me dirty 3 times in 5 years. 17 years at a bank running the Chicago metropolitan area for US Bank. And out of nowhere, we got a new vice chair who decided to just sever all of us. No questions asked, could have cared less. You're all out. You can apply for the new jobs and we'll consider you. Now, frankly, they did hire me to keep my job, which was embarrassing. But I threw my keys on the desk and I walked out. Okay. I went to a commercial bank in California. I was there for 90 days and they sold the bank. Well, that's a shocker. So I got a change in control, got severed, went to another bank 30 days later because I knew somebody. And EVP, head of retail and business banking. I was there for 3.5 years. We sold that bank. And I'm like, I'm done. I just got severed 3 times in 5 years. And if you think that that's going to get better in the future, good luck because the economy where it's going is super, super strong. But corporations are going to keep looking for efficiencies. And I promise you, it's going to be led with AI. And I am not here to be a doomsayer or say that, 40% of people are going to lose their jobs. But I am going to tell you that as earnings and the stock market keeps making new all-time highs, companies cannot get more revenue, so they have to get rid of the expenses. And I know that better than anybody because I was that guy who was constantly laying off hundreds of people, right? Closing bank branches and looking for efficiencies because it's the only way to improve the bottom line. So, the next class I'm going to teach, yep, September or October, most likely. If not, I'll do one in January of next year. So I don't have any dates. I don't have any commitment. This is the last one I'm doing because I'm going to go enjoy my summer. So every summer, we typically go away for a month. Last year, we were gone Italy for a month. The year before, it was Spain. Year before that, it was Greece. So I travel during the summers and I don't want to teach. But I'll trade live from Italy or Spain. It's a little pompous, isn't it, Alberto?
A little bit, but yeah, hey, that's the beauty of learning this. You can literally go out and vacation and take your trades and be like, hey, I'm still somebody's paying for my flight back.
Right? Nothing wrong with that. So I want to thank everybody for their time today. We went about 20 minutes over, but again, I hope this was to your benefit and you learned something. You get a little bit of a more of a glimpse into my personality, Alberto's personality, and just know that we're here to help. And if you want our help, we'll give it to you unrelentingly. And if you don't, that's okay too. We wish you nothing but success in anything that you decide to do, all future endeavors, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Alberto, it was good seeing you as always, my friend.
Likewise, Bill. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. If you have questions, let us know, and we're here to help you guys.
Yeah, send me a DM, send us an email, whatever you want. And again, I'll get the recording out to everybody. And if you have questions, let me know. And if you want to enroll for the masterclass, enrollment is now open. So do so before I send it out to the 3,500 people in the on the wait list. So there's only so many seats because I can't teach everybody. So, all right, guys, be good. I'll see y'all
See you
later.
guys later.
Bye.
Take care.